Nothing says romance like having incredible sex and then sobbing afterward while your partner panics thinking they just fucking broke you. Now, check-in moment, because I'm not talking about bad sex or about regret or any form of relationship problems here. I'm talking about sex that is genuinely good, connection happens, orgasm happens, everything felt fucking phenomenal, and then afterwards you're just suddenly fucking crying. And not even like sobbing dramatically, but just definitely sitting there and thinking to yourself, why the fuck am I crying right now? When this used to happen to me in the past with my husband, who at the time was my boyfriend, he would look at me like something must have gone terribly wrong. And then because society teaches us indirectly that if you're crying after sex, something must be wrong, my brain then immediately assumed something was wrong. Or I would start questioning, did I secretly feel unsafe with this person? Was something unresolved? Did I actually not enjoy it? And this happened to me for years before I got into the nitty-gritty of all of my research and education. And then when down the line years later, I started working with clients, I kept hearing the same fucking thing. Sometimes I cry after sex and I don't know why. Is that fucking weird? And I actually started noticing a pattern that many of those clients, not all, but many of them had ADHD. So the second that pattern started clicking for me, I went down deeper into the research and training around nervous system regulation, emotional dysregulation, and how all of this can show up in intimacy. And so unfortunately, lots of school debt, but I finally understood the connection. Sex is a massive nervous system event, my peeps. So when arousal ramps everything up, the orgasm creates this huge neurochemical shift from your dopamine, your oxytocin, your endorphins, all of it fucking spiking. And then afterward, your brain has to regulate back down to a baseline. So for people who already struggle with emotional regulation, like many of us with ADHD, that transition can feel intense as all fucking hell. And then sometimes your brain doesn't just glide smoothly back down. It can fucking crash or spike in a different direction, or then just feel emotionally raw and overwhelmed. And it's going to not be for everyone, right? Not every time, but it's a real nervous system response to an intense experience. And let me just say that this isn't uniquely ADHD, because you got trauma history, attachment patterns, anxiety, hormones, relationship safety, all of those that can impact your nervous system and how it responds after sex. But ADHD in and of itself, it can just add a layer of emotional dysregulation that can make the come down more noticeable and harder to then manage. So if you've ever had a moment after great sex where your emotions just suddenly spike or crash and you're sitting there thinking to yourself, what the fuck is happening to me right now? Before you go down the path of thinking that maybe you're wrong or something must be wrong, remember that your nervous system may actually be processing an intense experience, and that come down from that intensity doesn't always look pretty or feel comfortable. Most of us should be talking a lot more about this instead of sitting in the silence, confusion, wondering if we're the only ones. And just remember to work with a qualified professional if you are experiencing any distress within your relationships or your intimacy.